Ale, is a comfortable win for Juventus, but the goal doesn't come until the 53rd minute. It is a team in Lecce in the relegation places. What did you make of the performance?
Comfortable in the end, comfortable in the scoreline, but uncomfortable for long periods of time, especially in the first half. And we're talking about a Lecce team that came into this match having the worst defensive record in Serie A with 60 goals allowed. So it's not like you were playing against Beckenbauer, Baresi, Maldini, and Cannavaro in that back line. It's a team that struggles to defend. And yet, Juventus, as we have seen since they started back up playing, they struggle to create chances. They really do. There is no team creativity. There's no individual creativity. And so therefore they become very predictable and so slow in their possession. Then there's a red card and you think, well, things are going to open up. Not so much. And it wasn't really until the second half when Lecce themselves make a mistake. Then Dybala finds that ball on top of the 18-yard box and scores a beautiful goal. Got to give him that. It was a beautiful finish by Paulo Dybala. And then after that, Lecce had no answers and nothing else to give. And therefore, Juventus took over. But up until that moment, there was nothing really encouraging about the Juventus performance. And it was very much the same sort of performance that we have seen since they started playing after the pandemic or after the suspension of play, where we have seen a team that has difficulties in the final third, has difficulties in quick transition. There is no 1v1 situations and people breaking other people down and defenders down. It wasn't until Douglas Costa comes on the field that makes a difference. Other than that, I guess Higuain coming on the field and scoring a goal, that's a positive thing for Juventus looking into the future. But other than that, there weren't exactly a whole lot of encouraging signs from this Juventus performance.
Robbo, not just today, but as Ale points out, since the return to play, what have you made of Juventus' performances?
Well, exactly the same as Ali just said. Up until the sending off, they hadn't created anything. There was no cohesion in their play. There was the movement from the front players. They don't start moving until the ball gets into midfield. Sometimes when Bonucci's got the ball at the back, they need to spread the opposition. I'd like to see Ronaldo try and run in behind. Dybala always wants to come short. Bernardeschi was the only one that tried to make runs in behind, but he ran offside 2 or 3 times. And Bentancur tried to make runs beyond, but it wasn't enough, and it was too slow and too easy for Lecce to close the ball down. And Lecce, actually, when they started to play out from the back and play into midfield, they created 1 or 2 slight opportunities with their right wing-back getting through. So it was a poor performance, and they were allowed to eventually win the game because of the sending off. And it was the same against Bologna. They were playing really poorly against Bologna until Denswil inexplicably brings down De Ligt in the box, and it allows Juventus off the hook. So nothing at the moment looks good from my point of view for Juventus.
Speaking of Juventus, the swap deal, Pjanic for Arthur in Barcelona, seems to be done. Reports now that Arthur will indeed be in Turin soon for a medical. Ale, we had Sid on the show yesterday. He was talking about the financial reasons why Barcelona would do this on the field. Do you think this is a good move for Barcelona?
I think it's a good move in terms of moving on from Arthur, because it's a player that I think there were expectations for him. And although he has been solid, I suppose, for Barcelona, there isn't a whole lot of him that you think, you know what, this is a player that is going to be a long-term solution for Barcelona. And so therefore, I really think that they have in Riqui Puig a better option, a guy out of the midfield that gives you a change of pace, it gives you some energy. And in fact, I would give him a whole lot more opportunities. In terms of Mirlem Pjanic coming to Barcelona, I don't know what it does for Barcelona. It's not an upgrade to Arthur. You're actually getting older. I don't feel that it's a long-term solution, and maybe it's just a stopgap. And having a player that gives you an option off the bench, or maybe a squad player for that matter, a little bit of depth, a little bit of experience. But other than that, I don't see Pjanic as a long-term answer for any sort of the problems that Barcelona has. Because if you consider what Barcelona is in the midfield right now, it's a bunch of players that struggle to get around because their legs are not quite there anymore. Well, that's very much what Pjanic is right now. Is a player that can pass the ball around and can move around in terms of just keeping the ball going. But him individually, physically, can no longer compete in a transition game and can no longer cover the ground that he once did.
Bravo, kind of like Ale, Barcelona fans don't seem too excited about Pjanic. What do you think about his potential fit at Barcelona?
I agree entirely with what Ali's saying. He can't get around the pitch. But what I'd like to see, I think he's been wasted at Juventus by Sarri, because when he was playing for Rome, he had Daniele De Rossi in behind him. He was the holding midfield player, and Pjanic became a very good playmaker. He picked out passes. He was a brilliant free kick taker. He created goals for other people. His passing, his long-range passing, was the best aspect of his play. Under Sarri, he's just, as Ali said, pass it 10 yards, just keeps things ticking over like Jorginho did for Chelsea and Napoli for Sarri. So I don't think Sarri's used him in the best possible way. Maybe at Barcelona, if he plays further forward, he might be able to pick out those passes for better runs from the front players. So we might see a little bit more from Pjanic, but he's not going to be in the team every week, I don't think.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.